started out when I was a little guy growing up there, and then they had an old hard part tractor and a thrashing machine, and everything was self-crew. He'd hire everybody. Quite a few of them was down where we drove through down there, around Blackwater Bottom, and we didn't go through Blackwater Bottom, but in that area, south of Concordia down there. And they'd come up with their team, and everybody had a team and horses then. And that's what you had out in the field. And of course, you cut all the wheat and oats, and wheat and oats, that's all you had with the binder. And he'd cut that and then shock them all up, and then he'd put them in shocks for probably be in there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks or whatever.
How big was a shock?
Oh, it was about 11 bundles in a shock. And then he'd take a top and cap it off with 2 bundles on top. And you'd make kind of a little roof up there, so if it rained or something, the water would run off. And you'd bend this bundle to where it'd make a little deal, and the other side, and you'd put the heads up the top, and then the tails up at the bottom. And if it rained, it'd act like a little roof. It really did.
And the bundles were tied together?
Yeah.
And then you leaned the bundles together to make a shock?
Yep. You take 1 or 2 and put them out here, and you start 2, and then get 2 on the other side, and you build around it, to where you get a nice little shock. You don't want to get too big, because you want to get just big enough to where 2 bundles will make a lid on top. And some of them fields, say there's 20 acres in it, or 15, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shocks of wheat or oats in that field. Just it's the prettiest sight you could ever see. People here in town that worked at the shoe factory would come out home out there after work and eating. As they say, you get off at 4 o'clock or 5, whatever they got off. They'd come out there, and then April's would have some, or maybe we'd have some, or somebody have some, and they'd shock them wheat up after they cut it with a binder all day.
The binder would drop it.
Yep.
And then
binder would drop it, and the binder would get it and put it in bundles, and kick them out, in the carrier. It had a carrier on there. It'd carry, maybe 8 or 10 bundles, and then he'd trip that thing and drop it on the ground, and they'd slip off, and you keep right on it going. And they did a lot of that with horses back then, and then it got to where you had the horses had more tractor, and then you put a tractor on that when you cut it with a tractor. That last year we was cutting most of our wheat and oats there with a tractor and a thing, and then it always tickled me when we get around, keep going round and round and around the field, and you drop them, always try to line them up in a row, and then when they shock them, just go down there and shock them all in a row. And you go, another 50 feet or 100, you'd have another row and another row and a row, and you get down just about to the end of where you got all the oats or the wheat out and had it all about cut. And then that's when the rabbits was always been in the middle, and it tickled me there. They'd always come out of his head company, or some of the younger ones, or somebody was around. They'd get on, Daddy would be driving the tractor, and I'd be riding the binder or something, and the rest, 2 or 3 of them get around and try to catch them little rabbits. And they catch them every once in a while. There used to be a lot of rabbits.
Yeah.
You don't very so many, but out that farm down east, there used to be rabbits down there by the truckloads. We used to hunt them with a .22 rifle.
Not as many
They'd take them to Warrensburg
probably.
and sell them.
Yeah.
Get 15, or guys 30 cents a piece for a rabbit. All you do is get them and gut them and throw them in the back of the car, or put them in a gunny sack and take them to Warrensburg, and they'd buy them from you right there where we built that. Right on the railroad track. They had a produce house there, and it's on the railroad track, and there's new city halls there now. Ain't new anymore, but we built it there probably 25 years ago, whatever. That used to be the produce house where they'd buy them rabbits. He wouldn't give you as much money for them here in town as he would over there. So we'd haul them to Warrensburg. And that was a big time. But I think a team and a wagon get like $2.50 a day, and maybe a guy with a pitchfork just pitching to the wagon would get $1.25 or something like that, a day. And they'd feed them. They get to eat at the cook shack, and they'd get to sleep in the barn or sleep in wherever they could sleep. Sleep right there, and they sleep in the haystack or whatever that. But that's where you slept at. You didn't have no bed in the house or nothing to sleep in. You slept outside. Get a bath or something. You go down to the pond sometimes, and they go swimming or something. They go down to the pond and get a bath. That's where they get cleaned up out in the pond. They didn't have no wash tub nowhere. There's no running water in the house or nothing. And say around 30 to 30 to 35 people at the cook
Depends
shack
on how
usually
many
fed.
were working.
A lot of days now, maybe not always, but it always had to be around 25 would be a good number. Yeah, I think you paid them on Saturday.
Once a week.
I think paid them once. No, yeah, paid them once a week. Had to get it on a good area and level. Had to get it leveled out, level it up to the cylinder. Then it had a cylinder in it, you know, with the teeth and everything. And it had the cave. It goes in the front of the elevator. Without you, the elevator would fold up when you pulled it down the road and had a tongue on it. But that elevator would fold up pretty short, you know, and up and it hooks on it. You hook up, and you back up the tongue and then tongue on the thing and take off with it. But then it had to get in there, and that inside them shed had them big old teeth in there, you know, and them cylinders and that stuff. It goes, of course, that knocked the grain out of it, and it had pans where it'd fall down, and it shifted, and it had a lot of shifts in it. It's like the combines have got them now, I think, probably pretty much, I guess. And it just shifted along, and all the grain would fall down and auger into the grain part, into the augers, and then the shaft and the wheat and the stubble and everything, it finally go out the pipe in the back. In a sack, some of them sacked it. Had them big old sacks that hold 2 bushel of wheat. You know, it had 120 pounds, and that's what they put in. A lot of them, a lot of guys had a little elevator down and come down, a little shaft to come off up there where up on top. It had a deal up there on top. You had a bushel, at 60 pounds, it'd dump, and it'd go back the other way, and it'd go up another way. It automatically would dump itself, so you'd get enough weight in there. And it had a little steel, you had a little scale on them scales up there, and it would get in there and get in the sack, and you wanted to put 2 bushel in the sack, you'd leave it on there, and it'd take a little while for it to fill up, see, and you had a deal down there, and hook them sacks on the deal, it had down, just like that was down there at the bottom. You have 2 of them, one over here and one over there. And if you had one on that was empty, and you'd taken the full one off, of course you turned over into this one. It had a little flap in there, see, would run the wheat in this sack,
Flip
or
back and
flap the
forth.
other way and run in that sack.
Yeah.
That'd give you a chance to, that's where you had to
Change
do
them
it,
out.
to get the full one off, and if you'd be filling this one up over here, and you get another new one put on over here. So it kept a guy going. If you were thrashing oats, it was coming out really good. It kept somebody really going to keep them sacks of it.
How'd they
It's about that long, just like you'd cut it,
tie it on
wrap
top?
that around there, and pull it back, tie her up with that.
I see.
Walked
And how far was that?
1 mile.
Uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways.
1
In the
mile
bla-
each way?
in the
Uphill, going to school, uphill coming home.
and blizzards and
Mud.
Where was
Just about a mile,
Where was the school?
right
And
west of us. That road that goes
Yeah,
down there
behind the
by where the
theater.
drive-in theater used to be, if you remember that.
Mhm.
Right there on that road that goes right straight west, just up there till you got, you go down up a hill and level out, then you go down a hill and back up a hill, and about halfway up that hill over there. That's the school set right on the left-hand side. It's gone now. Johnny Bob Hill, Mr. and Miss Houston bought it, and he tore it down and used that lumber to build a house over the hill there. Eight of them.
8 hours.
can you imagine
One
that?
teacher tried to teach, why don't we learn a damn thing? 8 grades,
I did that.
did you?
Did you have some good
Through
teachers?
6th grade.
Yeah, we had some good teachers. Had one from Mr. Porter was about probably my pet teacher, my best teacher, and he was up at Robbins. And then we had 1 or 2 out of Warrensburg. And then when my first year or two, Mrs. Stayed there, lived with us in the house there when she taught school there.
Sanders. I'm Jim Sanders' son and Grandpa's grandson. How did you propose to your beautiful wife, Mary Sue?
Is this like this real sort of?
How did I propose to her?
But that's not going to be much of
I
that.
think that she proposed to me. I had a 39 Chevrolet, and I had a car, and that's how I caught your grandmother.
You get it 39?
If I hadn't had a car, you probably wouldn't have been here today. Couldn't just drive up in Lexington then and get a married license. You had to be 21 years old. And I asked Dad, I said, would you
I
go
was.
up to Lexington with me and sign for me to get my married license? He said, I sure will. He kind of thought a lot of this girl. And anyway, well, he did, and we went up there, and I turned 20 in September, and we got married in December.
I'm Susan Eckelmeyer. Ronnie's Uncle Ronnie's niece and daughter of Louise Sanders Eckelmeyer. So, can you tell us how you got the nickname Muskrat?
Oh, muskrat, yeah, I can tell you about that. I used to do a lot of trapping when I was a kid and going to school, and that's why we got our spending money to last me all year long. When I was going to high school, I made enough money trapping, bought my gasoline, bought whatever I needed to buy, marry some stuff and one thing and another me, and that'd last me a year.
Wow.
Yes. And we used to catch muskrats, and down on our farm, we had that old creek went through there, that old creek bed, and had a lot of water in it, and had muskrats. Always had corn there, and of course the muskrats like corn. And they'd eat up a half acre of corn, and I'd go down and trap them, and after the season opened up on like the 15th of November, and by the time the season opened, the ice would always freeze by then, and then it'd be frozen over, we couldn't catch them. So we'd set the traps and catch them a little ahead of time, and bring them up and skin them, and I put them clear up in the attic. My dad would skin them, and he had a surgery over in Warrensburg, and he was home, and he felt good enough to do this kind of thing. And the old game warden pulled up there one day, and he was sitting out on the front porch and skinning two of these muskrats. The old game warden caught him there, so he didn't well, he'd give him a couple of these, and he'd maybe go on. No, that damn game warden, old Jack Frost from over Warrensburg, that was his name. He knew just exactly where them muskrats was. He had to go upstairs, go in the attic. Y'all remember, y'all kids been up there. Go in the attic to the right, and in that attic went over to the other attic where we built a new bedroom where Louise lived, in another attic above that. That's where I had the muskrat. And that damn game warden, he went up there and crawled right back through there and knew exactly where they was. Somebody told him.
Well,
Anyway, 13 of them. Went up to Lexington, he took them to Lexington, we went up there in the court, and it cost us $65 in court costs, and they kept the damn muskrats. And they was worth about $3.5, $4 a piece back in by, which was a little bit of money.
Did they get all of them, or did grandmother hide some of them?
Grandma hid
That's what I'd heard.
either 2 or 4 in where eventually, it wasn't in,
It's a good mother.
but where the bathroom and the new bathroom was. Louise's bedroom was here and the bathroom was there. There wasn't anything in there. There was a bed in there because we didn't have the stool and we didn't have the water in the house yet. Anyway, she went in there and hid them underneath the cotton bed in there. They had 2 or 3 blankets on or something. She put them underneath there and they didn't find them. It was a family affair.
I'm Brett Sanders, and you would be my great uncle, my grandfather's brother. So, did you go to school dances? And if you did, if you're like any of us, I want to know how you danced at your school dances.
We were dancing, and whoever I was dancing with, I hugged them tight. I hugged them. High school, we used to have the social hour. There you go. We had social hour, and we had dances. We did once a month, and we had. We didn't do much square dancing, I don't think. We did round dancing. Get your partner. I'd go get Julie to dance. And old mister, he had a record box. Probably got one of them here in the house. And anyway, he played in record box. He played music all the time we was there. Didn't square dance any much, but we round danced for no. I don't know if we did any square dancing. Didn't know how, I don't think. Nobody called it. Nobody knew how to call it square dance.
I'm Jim Sanders, Ron's youngest son. My wife Susan here with me. My son Jordan and his girlfriend Candace. So,
Thank you.
Grandpa to tell us the story of him chasing his brother Robert around with a hatchet.
Dad had a ladder sitting up on the, y'all remember the house out home there, and the room that we built on for Louise, had a bedroom anyway, but anyway, he had a ladder up there and he was working on the roof, part-time. He'd put shingles on when he had time to do it or whatever, repairing some of it. And I know Robert made me mad about some damn thing.
Could have been you, could it?
And I got a hold of a hatchet or an axe, I think it was a hatchet of some kind, and I got to run him around there, and I got him pretty scared, I think. He probably ran up that ladder, got up on top of the house. I couldn't have been over about 3 years old, I don't think, and Robert was probably 9. So he was 6 years plus older than I was. I know it happened, I could see it happening and everything else, but I don't know why I was so damn mad at him, and I chased him up that ladder with that hatchet, but I don't know that man.
I'm Cody Sanders, Ronnie's grandson, and youngest grandson. Do you remember going to your first movie, and what was the film?
I don't remember my first movie, I really don't, Cody. I remember going to the picture show on Saturday, every other week, and get groceries and shop. Saturday night was the biggest thing and ever hit Higginsville, I'm telling you. You couldn't find a place to park, you couldn't find nothing. You had to get, maybe park back there where Cranes had their produce shop, where the laundromat is now. You park on, way back on the back street somewhere. I guarantee you couldn't get on the front street. They had 3 or 4 barber shops, the 3 barber shops. They were always big. And the picture show was always a double deal, and it had a serial, and you always wanted the serial would run for maybe 10 or 12 or maybe 20 weeks. And it always gets you, hold you right on it, stop it right on the edge where they're gonna go off a cliff or something going big happen. They, boom, they just shut her off right there. You have to come back next week and pick it up. And I could get in the show, it did 12 or 15 cents when I was 12 years old. After you got to be 12 years old, you were supposed to pay the adult, which I think was 25 or 30 cents. And I'd go up there and I'd put my money up on there, and they finally, I think I was 13 going on 14, and I finally had to pay back the full money. But that was a picture show. We used to go in the picture show and they had a back step. Just same picture show is down there now, the whole thing, and we walk up inside, but they had a back steps you went up there and you'd sit up in the back. And that's where the whole thing, I've seen that picture show so full you couldn't even find a place hardly to sit down in there. I guarantee you that thing has been, if you did, you had to go down on the front row. Nobody liked to sit on the front row.
David Sanders, and this is my great uncle also. When you were punished as a child, who punished you and how?
I never get punished.
No way.
I was good all the time.
Kind of like Julie and Jimmy was.
When I grew up, I don't think I ever got a paddle. I did not. I don't think I did. I'm not saying I was a good child. I was probably spoiled about half rotten.
No.
I remember one time Robert and me got in a little scuffle out there. We were on the south side of the house there. We used to have an old pump there and a deal there and one thing and another. And I always liked to drive the nails in the ground. I always did, you know, them when I was a kid. I'd get a whole handful of nails. I'd just drive them in the ground everywhere, you know. That man, there was something out there one day. We got kind of in a scuffle about that. And my dad, I think he paddled both of us a little bit. I want to hit us a little on the butt. Maybe that day or something, we'd be in over a little bit of trouble there. But that's about the only time.
I'm Tim Upford. I'm a grandson, the most mature grandson. And I've heard most of these, if not all of these stories before. I'm the son of Julie Upford, Julie Sanders. I've heard a lot of them before, but I want to see how truthful you were the first time with them. So, because I think a lot of these go hand in hand. I'm going to go with, what's the biggest fib you ever told?
I never did tell one.
You never told a fib, ever? What about a curfew? Did you have a curfew? And did any fibs play into the curfew?
Did I have a curfew?
Yeah.
My curfew was very thin.
What does that mean?
Midnight, 1 o'clock?
No, I usually left around 10:30, my curfew.
What time do you have to be home?
Football team playing football. My curfew was 9 o'clock.
It wasn't a
I
home.
just said, well, go about 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Did you ever have any fibs going around that curfew? Did you ever
No.
No? No. Okay. What would you say is the naughtiest thing you ever did growing up?
Don't tell him, Ronnie.
Let's keep it. Let's keep it PG-13. Keep it 13. PG-13.
Well, sir, I don't think I was ever that kind of person, Jimmy.
He's
Tell
telling
us,
you the
Susan.
truth when he said, I'm not that kind of a person. He's telling you the truth that he thinks that.
You, and I don't know if you got in trouble for this or not, maybe you didn't, but it was not just you, but your brother Robert took Mom's baby dolls and put them on the fence and shot them.
Did you do that, Ronnie?
No,
That's where they got that.
Robert might have done that, but I didn't do that. We spent more time at Grandmother Borkston's probably. After Sunday, like that Sunday after we go to Sunday school, or we had Sunday school at our school. And after Sunday school, we'd maybe drive down there and eat dinner with them. It's not unusual at all that we'd eat dinner at Grandmother Borkston or maybe over Grandma Sanders' house on Sunday afternoon. Sunday.
Okay.
Very unusual. We ate at home a lot,
but we ate there, I guarantee you, half the time.
Just you all or other family
No,
members
some of the rest of
too?
them come in too, whoever showed up.
Wasn't uncommon.
Grandma Bork said they always had food. They always
Yeah.
spent cooking and always had food in the pantry and stuff. They always had food for everybody. Yeah, make pies and bread and all that was homemade, you know. Back then, they spent most of their time in the kitchen. They had a rumble seat in the back of it there. We got a kid rode in the back of it there for, I don't let me, I was too little, I think I had to ride up in the front, but Louise and Robert rode in the back of that rumble seat, you know, it opened up. You could sit in there and talk about seat belts. I don't think about those seat belts. As far as I can remember now, we had a car. I couldn't go back over to them school meetings sometime because the roads was all muddy and stuff, you know. It was a horse and wagon, a lot of Christmas programs. Remember us going over there in the wagon and the team, and I mean, the whole mud and the ruts was about axle deep, you know, and we'd load up and go over there, you know. The cars we had 30. Your dad there, we was in town here when they went home that one afternoon and went out there at the junction, you know, and pulled out in front of our paper man, turned us upside down there in the road.
I've heard that.
Winter didn't kill all of us, but I don't know what the matter with Robert that day, but he flat out didn't stop. His mother was sitting there in the car, we was going south. She was sitting there in the front door, and I was sitting in the middle, I was a little guy. Robert was driving. In the back seat, Louise was in the back seat. Shirley was in the back seat. Her cousin from up at Kansas City used to come down and spend all summer with us a lot of time in the summertime. And he was in the back seat, and I think just them two was on. There's 5 of us. And anyway, we got out there in the intersection, and here comes the car and hit us right in front of the front door on the passenger side, and just laid us upside down out there in the middle of that intersection. I mean, right upside down out there. And the paper man, Mr. Frankie from down at Concordia that throwed our paper on. I mean, he's the one that hit us. 36 Chevy, what it was. 36. And it's all made out, all metal. If it had been a car that was made out of plastic like today, it'd probably kill half of us. But it just kind of caved the top in, and where he hit the side, it caved it in. And Mother that didn't hurt me a bit. I didn't have no knots or nothing on me. And Robert didn't have no trouble. Mother had a couple black eyes out of the deal. And Louise was boogered up a little bit, but not just bruises, and Shirley was too. But we had the cistern there. I don't remember when they built the cistern, but they had dynamite some of that to get through that some of that rock we talked about in that hill. You had really a dandy cistern for anybody out in that country. And I don't know how come anyway, but you pump the water into the cellar down there. And we had in the kitchen we had a little hand pump. In the pipe in there, and they had the facility. Pump that water up there and up there. We always had water we could pump in the house. I can always remember that. But having the running water, we didn't get that running water in the house till Ritter's Hardware here in town come out there, and we had to build a room on and prepared for the bathroom and then the bedroom. So Louise was living upstairs with Robert and me, and she was getting old enough, and Mother thought she ought to have a bedroom of her own. And we built that room on the house, and Mother and Daddy lived there in that little dining room where you walk through there to get into the living room, and the bathroom was off to that side. But anyway, well, that's when we got to running water, and that was in, I want to say, I think I was in high school already before we had running water in the house. I think I was about a freshman in high school.
So how'd you take a bath before you had running water in
In
the
a big
house?
old tub, a big old round tub. In the wintertime, it'd be cold, they'd take it right there in the damn house in the kitchen. On Saturday night, just took 1 bath a week while that.
Would it have been around 1940 or a little after?
41, I was going to say.
Get some wiring run in the house. The house wouldn't have any wiring, so.
Yeah, he didn't have no wiring in it. And I remember when they wore it, old man didn't do too bad a job for back in them days, you know. Had to put a breaker box in it and one thing and another, but he didn't know, very many people do much wiring back in, you know. Didn't know how to wire.
The house was heated with a wood burning stove.
Yeah, and then we had
and a wood cook stove.
Yeah.
And how did that work? You have to put little pieces of wood in, and you could bake in an oven.
We just had a little bitty burning deal, that cook stove. I don't see how Mother ever got things done on it, but It just had a little deal about that wide and about that deep in there. You put the wood in.
Little pieces.
And then right beside it, it had an oven there. And beside that oven, on the end of it over there, it finally, I remember it probably rusted out. But you fill it full of water,
I see.
and that would help get your water heat.
You'd have a little hot water.
Yeah, you need a little hot water, you got some hot water. That's where you got your hot water. It had the oven right beside it, and then it had, I think, 4 burners on top of it. And of course the pipe and it went up out there to the top there and went on out the deal there with that cook stove. And in the living room,
Just, you know.
we had it went real heavy. It was a wood burning or coal. We burned coal in it too. We burned quite a bit of coal. Come from a coal mine right out here. And one of those sheds right east of the house there. Get that coal in there. When they first get out of the ground, it's real green.
You lived in town.
It didn't burn very good. After it stayed around, the air got to it and the wind, and it got a little moisture out of it, and it burned a lot better. It got a little drier, but it's cold did. But when you first get out of the ground, it don't burn very good.
What's the smell in your house? I mean, does coal smell when it burns?
Yeah, not too bad, really. It didn't smell too bad. But in the living room, we had a warm burning stove. I mean, that one of real heavy stoves, and it had a really good cast iron base inside of it. And then it was, and upstairs, went through upstairs with it, and one time there they had a pipe up there. The pipe come upstairs, and then the smokestack come out. But anyway, it had a pipe up there, and it had like that there, see, but it had like 4 deals around it up in that room, and that would come up through there.
And radiate off of it. Yeah.
That's what kept a little bit of heat upstairs.
Yeah.
For us in the wintertime, us kids.
It's pretty cold some mornings.
Yeah. Then after that, finally, we got the propane gas outside. Then we put a propane stove in there. And I cut a hole in the floor upstairs.
Put a grate.
You remember that grate that was in there?
Yeah.
Open that up, and that heat come up there pretty decent.
They did a nice job.
You could get a little heat up in there then. But that's for them. Then we had a little in the kitchen there then, back in the corner. Remember, we had a little propane stove in the kitchen there then.
And a little heater in the bathroom.
Yep.
Little tiny one.
We had a little heater in the bathroom. We had a little heater there, little stove like in the kitchen. In the corner, then we had a bigger one there in the living room.
The bedroom grandmother slept in, the one you said they had it on for Aunt Louise, it had no heat, but she always had an electric blanket. I always thought that was the neatest thing, electric blanket. Tell me how much time you spent cutting wood.
But at that time, you cut wood down there, go down there and cut wood and bring it up and drag it up there at the house and pile it up out there by the east shed, by the garage. It wouldn't bring in it was in the feed lot really, there by the barn. And keep piling it up. Then Carl Branson up there had one of them buzz saws. And get a pretty big pile of it there, and then
it'd run off the blade
over there, and
a belt on the tractor would run the buzz saw.
We had a tractor of some kind and run the belt off of that thing, and we'd spend all Saturday there cutting wood. Get them wood and feed up there and pile up them big old wood. And then I'd carry it in the house, put it on the porch up there. Remember that porch on the south side of the house? Loaded that down with wood a lot of times in the wintertime to keep it dry, when it gets cold and bad, and have it there where Mother could take it in the house. You need some wood and stuff.
Probably getting ready for winter, didn't it?
Yeah, and then when I come home from school, I always had to get, one of my jobs, always get the coal in, maybe 2 coal buckets of coal out of the shed, and get all the wood in on the porch or get it in the house. We take it in the house a lot of times and stack it up by the stove, or in the kitchen there, we'd stack it up behind the stove, and have it there where it stayed dry, and be ready to put it in there for Mother there when they'd build a fire, In the wintertime, when it's real cold and bad, and we finally got some of that propane there at last there, they could kind of keep the house kind of warm. But before that, when it's burning wood and coal and go out and some of them old cold nights to get down to 0 or 5 below, and Daddy'd get up a lot of time during the night and put wood on the fire.
Throw a stick on.
But if you didn't, if the fire would go out, man, it'd get cold in the house, I'm telling you.
Probably didn't. And the windows wouldn't have been very good either.
No, they wasn't there, but
it had a very nice setting though. That set.
Summertime, you sit there on the porch swing on the south side and Sunday afternoon, and you see them cars come up there, Locust Grove. Mother used to sit there, and I'd count them sometimes. We'd count them, sit out there, and they'd be coming back from a lake, or get down the lake, or wherever they's at. The 50 highway didn't go on up Kansas City then, Everybody went to the lake pretty well, went down
13.
40 highway and 13.
Maybe
Some of them come up
65.
65, but 65 wasn't very good either. But 13 was their main route to go into Lake Ozark. And then you can see it from Locust Grove, headlight after headlight, just solid string, clear up 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. People coming home from the lake. Had been that way forever down there, ever.
I'm Kyle, Ronnie's grandson and Kevin's oldest son.
Oldest son.
Yep. 8 minutes. Alright, my question is, how much do you remember paying for ice cream, soda, gas as a young man?
I'd get me an ice cream, I'd get a double dip ice cream cone for a nickel. And I'd come down and eat that, and maybe if I had another nickel, I'd go back and give me another.
Hungry later, go buy another.
How much was gas?
Gas was,
What's the most, the less you'd ever spent
the
for it?
least I ever paid for gasoline was 17 cents a gallon. And I ain't right sure it wasn't 15 at one time, maybe, but I remember a lot of times when it was 18, and then it got up to 35 and 39, and boy, we thought that was terrible. Really, we got gas got up to 39 cents a gallon, you know, and out home there, your dad run that filling station up there for over a year, and I used to help him when he, on Saturday night maybe, when he'd want to go someplace or do something different. Robert would be up there running that, and a guy named Dipner was there before that. He run the restaurant. But anyway, back in you had the old gas pump where you sell 10 gallon of gas is in a jug, and you'd run down. A guy that wants 6 gallon, you'd run 6 gallon. But after you get, if you want 10 gallon, you take it all, and you pump it back full again. You pump it full. It's in a glass container up above.
Yeah.
That's the way. But then they finally, we had one of them on each end of the head on the island. I think we had 4 pumps there. And then they finally got 2 of them that run like you do now. I mean, you run off a stick it in there, and you'd run up, you'd pump out of there, and you'd run 5 gallon out of what you want to do. But a lot of them was glass containers back in them days.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been anything more dangerous in the world than that was, probably. You know.
Alright, I'm Casey Sanders. I'm Ronnie's second youngest grandson, Kevin's middle son. And I got a couple questions. Can you tell us about digging your family grave?
Digging the family grave?
Yep.
Yep. I helped dig Aunt Tishy's grave over at the cemetery there. We was at there last Monday. Over at, what cemetery was that? Oak Grove Community Cemetery. Yeah. Like to the east there, about 2 miles off the road there. And we looked around the other day, and we was over there, and I told them, Aunt Tishy's grave. Back in them days, everybody around dug their own grave for their family. And I wasn't very old. I couldn't have been over. I might have been 10 or 12. I was old enough to run a shovel and a spade pretty good, but you done it all with that. You didn't have no backhoes or nothing like they got today, you know. But
6 feet deep?
yeah, one way down at least every bit of it. Went down the full amount, whatever it's supposed to be, and we dug it that deep. And she's
Do you remember when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
yes. I was right out on the south porch out home. And I'll never forget it. I think Daddy brought the paper up or something. I didn't hear much. Had a radio, no television, no nothing. But it was a day or 2 after that when we really knew anything about it. But it was big. Brought that paper up, and I could still see that paper, and he opened it up and had all that front page across there. For our pictures in that.
Did you have electricity in 41?
Electricity along in about 40 or 41, or close to that, because only reason we did, because at Kansas City Power and Light, or the Mo Pub, was right down there by us, and they brought it up at our house. REA didn't exist till after the war.
Okay.
And that's when they started going out through the country there and putting up lines with the rural electric, and that was through the government there, you know, but that was after the war was over. And out home there, we were lucky enough to have electricity pretty early.
So when did Robert go to war in World War II? When?
He didn't do World War II.
Oh.
No, he wasn't in World War II.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably
Well,
right on
he
the
was too
tail
young
end of
for World
Korea.
War.
Uncle Herb was in Korean War.
Because he always wanted to be in, you know, whatever. He loved football, loved sports. But he was up there at Richmond that night, and I was a senior. I'd have been 51. And he was home on leave, and he was over on the sideline. He never did sit down in the whole ball game. And we run up down the sideline. I'll never forget that. And one reason I remember a little about it, I guess, there, because we was behind like 6-0 at the half, and they was kind of raising hell with it. We were supposed to beat them, and we ended up beating them 25-6. Your dad always wanted to know about that football game. when he went to service, I sat down after every football game, and I didn't detail everything, a whole lot, but I detailed enough there, and I'd mail him a letter every day, every Saturday or Sunday or whatever it might have been, after the football game, wherever he's stationed at, and I kept him up to the football games.
I'm Larry Smith, I'm Irma's son, and Ronnie and I and Louise are first cousins. Ronnie, you recently sold a piece of relic from the farm out there. Can you tell us the history about how you got it and what you sold it for?
What did I sell?
Airplane propeller.
No, I ain't sold anything.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
What now?
About the airplane, but that belongs to me, the airplane propeller does. We bought that after World War II over the Whiteman Air Base. Charlie Powell, which you all don't know anymore, he's a long time ago, had a pickup truck. And back then, after the war was over, in them hangars, everything that was on that air base over there at that time, that was just maintenance, and they had the glider planes, they had little planes there, and they would put that in. But anyway, shovels, sleeping bag, night stuff, all that stuff at that air base is sold. And we went over there 2 or 3 different times, and you'd walk through there and you'd take off down the line. If you want to bid on something, you put your name on it, put a price on it, put it in the box. And anyway, come back, and I ended up, I bet $2.25, I never will forget it, on that airplane propeller. It sat on the table, and it was a prop for a fighter plane, what it was. It was not a propeller, it was a prop. And it sat up on this table, and I bet $2.25 on it, and I come back home, and they opened them up, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks later, whatever it was. But anyway, I ended up with that. They sent you a notice in the mail or whatever, let you know. And Charlie Powell had a ton truck, or a 3/4 ton, and always went down to State Fair every year, and I was about to at the same time. So anyway, my dad and him and me, and there might have been another or two, we went down there and we picked that up and went on down to State Fair that day. Come back home that night, pulled up there in the driveway, and the driveway used to circle around, and had backed up there and unloaded it there, and stayed out there at the farm till just about, 2 months ago. And I loaded up and I brought it in town. I got it over in the warehouse.
And who's
I got the cap on it. It had a copper nose on it. Not copper, but aluminum nose on it. And that guy that went out there to kind of tear our house down years ago, he stole that. And I never could get him to commit to what he done, but he took it somewhere and probably got $1 or $2 out of it. And I never could get that back. And I've been down to Miller Machine Shop to get him to build a new one, and they said they couldn't do it. He said he couldn't build one, but he referred to me a place up there in Lee Summit, up there where they do this kind of thing. And he said that if you can get it done up there, I guarantee you get something make it look just about like it probably, or close to it. But said it probably cost you $700 or $800 to get it put on there.
I'm John Upfer. I'm Ron Sanders' oldest grandson. Mother's Julie Sanders Upfer. Alright, I got one here. It's about outhouses, bath time, and scrubbing ears.
It lasts about a year and they fill up, John, and they dig another hole and move it over another spot.
Well, what about Grandma? What did your dad have to do with your outhouse? Grandma had the luxury of moving his. You all had to do what?
My dad had, on Halloween, because the kids pushed over outhouses. That was a real fun thing to do.
That was pretty popular back then.
And my dad on Halloween would sit out the coal stack. We had a coal shed. He would, this was in town. It's terrible to have an outhouse in town. But anyway, better than nothing. So he would sit there on Halloween night until all the fun kids would go. That was a real fun thing to do, to push over an outhouse on Halloween.
Halloween was a big time.
How much stuff did you used to blow up with dynamite when you were a kid?
Oh, I rolled up a little.
A little bit?
Really?
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't blow this up, but your great grandmother blew the top off the stove with the dynamite.
Oh, I believe that.
She did.
Gunpowder, what she had there, that's what she blew
She
the
loved that
stove
kind of
off there. She come out the house running and hollering, and she scorched her eyebrows. She got enough of it, she scorched her eyebrows, caught her hair on fire. Didn't hurt her, though, just skinned her. Down at the pond,
Yeah.
iced over bad, that one down north down there. The ice got really thick on the pond. I'd go down and cut a hole in the pond, and I took dynamite. I put it on a stick, got me a stick, and I'd get me a piece of rope or something, I don't know, twine, and I'd put a stick of dynamite on the end of that. And I had a pretty good little fuse on it, and I'd drop her down in that pond, cut that hole in it, drop down, and I'd take her, run off hard, I'd run back up a hill there. So you directed, go boom, boys, I dropped that dynamite off down in that pond down there, down on that north pond down there. And knocked that ice out there, pretty good hook in there where the cats would get in there and get some water. That's why I did that.
What are some of the major changes on the farm you have seen in your lifetime?
Oh, God, yeah. Walking with a walking plow and cultivator, horses, didn't have no tractors. When I was a kid, we didn't have any tractors. Very few people there that had a tractor.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I've seen all of that. Your grandmother and me have seen worlds in our lifetime.
Didn't you all?
I thought maybe, you know, more than what y'all ever will see probably, is the telephone and the airplanes and the automobiles and
The drastic changes.
on and on and on. But y'all are seeing so much stuff now with computers and stuff like that, you know. I mean, it just replacing all of that. Too much, I think, maybe, but I don't know. I ain't got no answer for that. Y'all are doing things now that I can't do, you know. With
What about soybeans?
With all that stuff, huh?
Out there on the farm, what about the soybeans?
Soybeans, we was one of the first ones, your grandfather Sanders, we had soybeans out to East Farm. Nobody else had soybeans, they didn't even know what they were. And that one year, we put in some soybean down there. Dad put in, I don't know, 15 or 20 acres. Combined them with a little 5-foot Alice Chalmers combine. And after that, the first thing you know, a year or two went by, a neighbor had a few, another had a few, and then he got a use for them more so. Wasn't much use for soybeans. Years ago, there wasn't no use at all for them. Didn't have soybeans. And now look at them. You go out here in the country now and you drive by a farm and they're all soybeans.
Dad said through the Depression, he didn't think his father ever took any assistance. Do you know anything to that? Any kind of aid?
Mom told me he did go in, but he wouldn't take Ruth and the kids, but he would go in and get some things, and that they were on relief. He'd bring back pork and beans, and she'd just be so tickled every time he brought back pork and beans, because they didn't have much.
And Pat and I wanted to walk in the timber, and there's some kind of nut that grew out there that your dad was said was
Hickory nuts.
Hickory nut, okay. So he says, I'll take you. So we go off, Pat, this is Pat and me, out to here with a baby coming, and Virgil. And he was telling us what all the things were. And we got down at the bottom of a hill between our
There wasn't no Brenda or Tobin that lived down there.
No, where Tobin's lived there.
Timber.
Between there, we came upon a dead body. All summer, Ronnie had said, I smell something in this timber
Dead
here.
cow.
Anyhow, and there was something going on there. This man, and I can remember him saying, well, look at that. Will you look at that? And this man is laying there, and he's lying down, and he obviously had his cap around behind us. And this is astounding. I'd never come upon a dead body before that was just laid out in the timber. The coroner comes. And now this is Ronnie's mother.
Coroner's from Odessa at that time.
So he comes in and he takes care of the body, and he comes in and he plops down at the kitchen table and he starts asking all these questions and this kind of stuff. And then he gets up and goes to the kitchen sink, which was right there. In those days, the kitchen
Pumping
sink
water
was,
up from down outside.
And he goes over and washes his hands into the east room, what they called it, and a big jug of bleach. This great big. And she took that and she did it right in front of him. Cleaned that sink, man. She cleaned that kitchen up, and she would not have it.
Now, that guy was just sitting there, wasn't he, basically, leaning against a tree?
He was
Like
lying.
it was a skeleton, basically.
It was a skeleton.
Yeah, he was all
He's
deteriorated.
fully clothed. He had
I think he was like
had
a tramp
A
or-
jacket behind, and this had been months, of course, by the time we walked in on this. And he had his jacket behind him as a pillow, and he had a little packet of change obviously was hitchhiking, had no money, and he had lain there all that time. And I
Well,
went,
come to find out later there, he'd been down the quarter.
He went to quarter to
Got
visit,
some kinfolks down the quarter, and he lived in Nevada.
and he was
And then
hitchhiking home.
he'd been up there to visit them, and he'd headed back home, evidently.
Like when you kids were still at home, there was kind of a pecking order, who went first to take a bath. and then-
Louise,
then
for sure.
Then Louise would take it, and then the water would stay in there, and then maybe
Yeah,
Robert.
yeah,
and you-
everybody,
everybody was-
five of us, well, all of us took a bath in the same water. Heat the water a little bit there, but you didn't have much.
So
You had
being the
that-
youngest, it
you had
was
that-
always the best part of the
You
deal.
had that old heating
Not
stove,
in that pecking order.
had that warm morning heating stove, and had a little box on the end up here that burnt the wood or whatever the coal you put in it, and had a couple, 3 burners, and then down here it had an oven, and on the end of it down there, it had a reservoir of water. See, and when that was working okay, you could put quite a bit of water in there, and it'd get pretty hot, get pretty warm, and that was your bath water. But see, after so many years went by, that damn thing would rust out and get a hole in it, you didn't have nothing, you heat the water on top of the stove, and that's the only thing you had pretty much then probably, but anyway, we got cleaned up pretty good, made it all right. It wasn't the best deal in the world, but it was the best we had.
What would you do as a family? You ever talk about it, like, go have fun with your family? What would you do like when you were younger? That you can recall?
We went to the state fair about, I'd say probably 3 times every year, 2 or 3 times, when we was kids growing up.
Just the 5 of you would go? I mean, like when you were younger?
Well, down there
How would
now-
you do it?
Well, down there then, there on the grounds, that one house to the north, I think it's still there. That was Mother's cousin or somebody, he was kind of a groundskeeper at the state fairgrounds. And when we go down there, we could park the car, we had permission, we get in through the gate, and we got permission, we park in their yard. We got parked right at their house, and we always took a picnic dinner with us. Mother always, whoever went, always picked up a great big basket full of whatever to eat, chicken and on and on and on and on. And we'd get down there, and then we'd leave, say, we got there at 10 o'clock, we'd go somewhere, we'd meet back there at 1 o'clock, eat dinner, we'd leave again, and go back one way, all go different direction. Some of us stay together, we'd come back again at 6 or 7, and that night we'd go to the fairground, whatever's going on in the fairground. They get entertainment there at the fairground bleachers, you know, go to that. Didn't do that all 3 times we went down there, but sometime we went down 3 times during this fair, 2 or 3 times. Mother loved the fair. Then I went up through the Ferris wheel and around that way and come back down through there, and there the burlesque gals was out there in front. Well, I was kind of curious. I kind of stopped and I looked around there
Just
a
a
little bit.
little boy.
Yeah, I was just a little guy. Anyway, we looked down and they was out there, and I thought, well, I didn't know whether they'd sell me a ticket or not. Anyway, I went up there and I had, I don't know, 15 cents or 25 cents or some different thing. Can I buy a ticket? Yeah, you can buy a ticket. You go right on in there. I got me a ticket, went right in on the front row. See the gal with the diamond toenails, And I went in there and they was putting on this show, and they didn't have much on, I'm telling you. They had those diamond toenails.
Louise and
Anyway, Mother Louise seen me go.
saw it, and they did not
They was up
go
on
in.
that fairground
They
too,
did
see
not
me
go
go in
in.
there.
They just let him go, they let him go on in.
Well, didn't they come looking for you? You
Let the
ran
boy
out
have
of
his
the tent?
fun.
No,
No, they
didn't come.
saw him by
they
the
seen me
ticket.
go in there, they didn't say nothing, we got back to
They just let him go.
eat dinner or supper or something. I think it was an evening deal, maybe, I don't know.
Louise always got a
Well,
kid.
Grandma said,
Susan,
Ronnie, did you have a good time?
Louise,
And I don't know how they brought it, well, they brought it up to me.
yeah.
I don't know just
Well,
how,
I imagine it was your sister.
I
That
don't
was
know
a
how it come
sisterly
about,
thing
one
to
of them
do.
brought it up to me about, having like the world with a diamond toenails or something. I had to confess that again.
Is that all you remember about them, is their toenails?
Susan, I shouldn't tell you everything.
I'm Julie, his oldest child. Her granddad in the hospital, being sick. I just remember going to visit him, but I really never knew why he passed away. And I just remember you talking a little bit about grandmother at the funeral. And I just kind of want to, how old he was and how she handled that.
Daddy was 6. That fall, late that fall, Daddy started losing some weight. Never did say a whole lot about it, but he had some problem. And today it's, even then it should have been, but it's 100% curable. I've had colon cancer.
I never did know exactly what
And
kind of.
anyway, he went to, he had trouble with it. Should have went to the doctor quicker than what he did, but he didn't. He went down to the Orange Bowl. And that was the year 1960.
Were you all there?
January 1960, at an Orange Bowl game down in Florida. And he come back home. And then after he got home, I noticed that Dad lost a little bit of weight. He lost about 30, 40 pounds overall. By the time he passed away, really. But anyway, the doctor, and he went up to, we ground feed. Had the cattle down to the other farm. We ground feed like on a Saturday. Before that, we always had a grain bin down. We filled it up. We had quite a bit of cattle. Took quite a bit of feed there to get them fed all the time. And anyway, we did that. And we drove up to hospital then on, I think it was on a Monday. After that, and we went to the hospital and they worked on him, and he didn't want Mr. Hulliver down there had one of the deals where they had a bypass. Colostomy. And he didn't want that. He didn't want it, but he'd probably live it. I don't know. But anyway, he didn't want that colostomy, and he fought that. He didn't want anything to do with that. Anyway, the doctor said that they could bypass him all right and be okay. But anyway, they bypassed him, and it wasn't okay. He did all right for a few days, and then he got a setback, and he never did. He got in a coma and never did come out of it. Some kind of staph infection.
Yeah.
Your mother and me spent the night over there. They called out next morning about 6 o'clock, so he passed away. It was on Palm Sunday.
So hard on your dad. My dad died at 63 as well, in his sleep. And Ronnie's dad, our grandchildren, our children, never had a grandfather.
No, I didn't either.
And they, yeah, and it's such a wonderful thing. It's just, grandmothers are nice, but grandfathers are special.
These
And
kids
they
don't
didn't
know
have
how
it.
lucky they are, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't.
Christmas. Do you remember your first Christmas as a family there? Or?
First Christmas that I can kind of remember, really. Wasn't very old. Couldn't have been very old. But at home there, mother and daddy slept, had a bed in there, and they slept in that room, but we had a buffet in there, and we still got it, I think, somebody got one or two of them, or one of them. We had an old pouch of reindeer, and looked like at the back of it, they had a place for a big orange. And we put that in there on that deal, and put an orange in it, and then around the kitchen table, in the kitchen, of course, we'd sit where we eat our meals. I was over here, and Robert was there, and Louise, and Mother and Daddy, and at the end around. Anyway, we'd set our plates at the table, just like we were going to eat breakfast. And that's where we got our Christmas, was in there at that kitchen table.
It's special.
Fruit was the big thing to get.
Fruit was, yeah, you get an orange and apple, but fruit was a big thing, and always had some material thing, some little toy or something. I'll never forget the one year we went down from there, down to Grandma Borsted's, down there at the houses there today. The one that not burnt, but the one after that again. But anyway, Uncle Everett, I didn't get very much, and Uncle Everett always had a little money, run a store, whatever, He had the train. I got the locomotive I brought in here today with me. In another room in there, I think somewhere's in there probably. But I always wanted a little train and had the track. Got down there. I didn't get much at home. We got down there and had this little track that fit on that table there. Set that up in that locomotive, and had a coal car behind it. Had, I think, 2 other cars, and had a caboose. And put that all together and run it on that track, and wind it up. You wind it up with just like a little deal in there with a key, and wind that up, and take off around that track and run. And out the front of it, up there like a railroad train, the sparks would fly out that little, like that train would run on that track around there, live around there, And man, I was the happiest kid in the world when I had that train. I played with it for every day for a long time. I know that. Down to East Farm, had apples and peach trees down there and one thing or another, and had some grapevine trees.
and some grapes down there.
So you did get some
Had the
fruit.
post along and had the wires up and had the grapes on there.
Yeah.
Big timber, that's where we got them down.
No.
We didn't have anything, any
Why don't you just ask
fruit
it?
much there at the house. Any
But-
apples or anything like that. We never did have any fruit trees.
But you brought them home from the East Farm.
Yeah,
In
all of them
season.
down there, and I guess that's why we probably never did put any fruit trees out there much. Had some beehives there at home. Always had some beehives there. I didn't like them because the bastard they sting me when I'd be out there mowing. They didn't get along very good with me. The bees didn't. Bob Shamlin there, he got Uncle Raymond got in trouble
Oh, that's,
playing cards up here with him in town, and
I've heard this.
And anyway, he owed some money, and Grandma Sanders bailed him out. I don't know, back in them days, $5,000 or $6,000. I've heard that story. I don't know how much or anything, which is true, but I think a lot went on there it shouldn't have went on. But it happened anyway, and that's the way they ended up with that house out there, part of it, some way or another.
Oh, gosh.
Ended up with that house.
That was part of their inheritance to even up with what they gave Uncle Raymond.
Yeah. When Grandma Sanders passed away, it was in her will that she gave Uncle Raymond $1. That's what she did. She gave him $1.
Because of gambling.
His mother, or Aunt Blanche, got half the farm down there, and Daddy got the other half. Uncle Raymond got $1.
Yeah.
And she helped him out up the years in front, and that's all. That's an agreement between both of them. Uncle Raymond never did have no hard feelings over that. When I was a kid at home there at first, we had a Sunday school and church over at our school, Hazeldale,
Okay, okay.
for several years. And a guy by the name of Mr. Torrance, I believe, lived out there on the County Line Road, and he was one of these people that don't believe in doctors or hospitals. He got sick, and in a few days he died. He was kind of a fill-in minister, whatever you want to call it out there, you know. But we had Sunday school and stuff on it. And then we come in here on Sunday evenings. We come in here to the Methodist Church. And Methodist Church had always had Sunday evening church. And in the summertime, they had a congregational meeting. All of them be out there in the street. Mary, you remember that?
Well, I do.
You probably don't remember that.
We weren't really dating then.
No, that was before I was
Yeah.
just 7, 8, 10 years old at the most.
We weren't dating.
Well, anyway, they had Sunday night deal in the summertime. They closed that street down right up there between Salem and the Methodist Church and set up chairs out there in the street, and they had service out there.
I
in the
remember
street.
your folks coming in and
Yeah, we
going
come
to
in
it
and
even
quite a
after
bit.
we did date.
I was baptized in our Christian church down here when I was 9 years old. I'm the oldest living member that's been baptized down in our church.
Really?
Yeah. We played a lot of church league softball. I played hardball on usually Sunday afternoon, most of that, because we didn't have any lights out there at the ball field. We had to play in the always day games. And finally we got lights out there, and then we played some night games. But we played a lot of church league softball. Every church had a league in the summertime.
Really?
Every church had.
And it was
Catholics was gun-ho. I mean, they was hard to beat.
I mean,
Fast pitch. I mean, some of them could throw that ball too. Anyway, we had a lot of fun with that at church league. They kept record of it, and they used to have a champion who
It
won
was
it.
a big deal.
I don't think they ever passed any trophies out or not, but they always had a good deal out of it. It was really a good social time for everybody. Was the best man, and we got to run around there afterwards, run up and down the street, and the damn police gonna throw us in jail. You know, after the wedding was over, well, everybody'd always get a string card and tie a bunch of tin cans on behind your car and one thing or another, you know.
No, kids always did.
Sometimes
It wasn't.
push
you
your
weren't doing
bride
it.
around in a wheelbar, but we had it hooked on behind our car, and Robert was driving, and we took off around there and went up Fairground Avenue, turned around out there to the swimming pool, come back down, and police tried to stop us up there in the parking lot up there at the shoe factory. And Robert, he just whirled on around and went on, and police got ahead of us, got down there at the corner down there, the little T corner down there, and then police copped the car crossways in front of the street, and I told Robert to go on and hit him. Well, he didn't hit him, but anyway,
No,
stopped and got out, and
10 cars or 20 cars were following
about
us.
25 of us got
Everybody
out of
jumps
that
in
car.
that car. Got
I
scared.
don't know whether I got out or not. Mary, she was hollering. She was.
I was
she
crying. I wanted to go
she didn't
home.
like it, but anyway, them coursing boys and Robert and 4 or 5 others stepped out of the car, and and them cops
He
just
says,
backed off and they got in the car and left.
That was the end of it.
Yeah, it was. They finally got off. They finally told me, "You all better get your butts out of here and get up there somewhere in City Hall and get hid
They
somewhere."
did, I mean, it
We
was
do
not
what we
a
want to
pretty,
do.
it's not a pretty thing.
And they got in the car. There's two of them.
They
And
left,
they had two different cars.
they
And
didn't
both of
arrest
them got in back in
anybody.
them cars, and then two of them got out of the way, and we finished up our ride, whatever they did. Yeah, we got the wedding pictures in there. That's when we was walking up the aisle. She was the prettiest thing.
That was a good one.
Here's one of ours.
Stop it. You're gonna get yourself in trouble, I can see that.
Timothy.
There's your mother right there. Introduce yourself to the camera, will you?